Hello and welcome back to my channel. So as you know, I am decluttering everything that I own and giving a lot to charity, but I often wondered what happens when my belongings are put in the charity box. What do they do with them? So today I'm with my good friend, and what's your role at Barnardos?
I am the online operations manager at Barnardos, which means I look after all the eBay and a lot of the stores as well.
And his name is Jonathan. And as I say, he's my good friend, my gym buddy, and also my kayaking buddy.
Hello.
Yes, welcome, Jonathan. So tell us first a bit about Barnardos and what the charity does for people.
So Barnardos is the biggest children's charity in the UK. We look after, just last year alone, over 300,000 families, children with additional needs or support, families that are going through a really hard time. People don't always hear a lot about what we do. We're a little bit under the radar compared from some of the other charities, which is a really good thing as well. It means more money is going onto the front line of the services we support. So we have social workers in some areas. We look after children that come across from war-torn areas that need a lot of trauma support. One that's very close to my heart is the fostering and adoption side of things. So we help a lot of children find their forever homes, and really we've just got thousands of projects all across the UK where we're needed the most.
Oh, that's so lovely. I love supporting children's charities. They're my favourite. So how does Barnardos raise money normally?
So we've got lots of different ways to do it. So from my perspective, is through more the retail arm and donations. So there is obviously fundraising efforts, things like the London Marathon and fundraising events. There's philanthropy for things being left in wills. But from my side, it's more the retail element. So Barnardos has over 550 shops across the UK, all of which need your donations to come into them so that they can sell those items and send money onto the front line. But from my side as well, I have the eBay operation. So we're so blessed in that our supporters can be so generous and give us some of the most incredible things that they would like to donate. And we know those can't always reach their full potential in our stores, where when we go into a charity shop, we hope to find a little bargain or something really well priced. But people donate things and they want us to get the full value as well. So as much money as possible can get onto that front line. Therefore, we have a big eBay operation where we send the items to the eBay team and they will get them onto eBay, onto that massive global market, and get the true value for items. So that's the main thing that I look after, as well as a lot of the donation bins and the donation bags where people can put their donations in a bag and send them to us.
Okay, so with regards to items that we donate, what sort of items can we put in the box for donations?
Really anything. We find value in everything. Obviously our stores and online really appreciate clothing, hard goods, bric-a-brac items, old gaming consoles that you might not want, so electrical items, stamps, coins, you name it. There is something for everything, and we will find a way of turning a donation into a fundraising effort, whether that is in our stores, whether it's online, or various other methods, or we get items into the families that need them there and then. So a lot of children's clothing could possibly go into a children's centre as well. So there's a route for everything.
And how, I think you touched on this, but how do people donate their goods?
So we've got lots of ways to do it. The easiest way, being a UK charity, you're probably never far away from a Barnardo store. So we've currently got about 550 stores across the UK, which you'll be able to find on the website. You'll be able to find your nearest store. So they will happily take items over the door. But if you are not close to one, or it's not easy for you to get out, you can go onto the Barnardos website. We have a dedicated donation page where you can order a really large bag. You can order as many as you like. We will then ship those out to you for free, fill them up. There's all kinds of bits and pieces in there which tells you the sort of items we're looking for, and then you can book to have those picked up and shipped straight into my team, who will process them and turn them into vital resources for the charity.
So I've put my item in the bag. Tell us a little bit more about how you sort them when you get them in your office department.
Yeah, so when items come into my particular office, we have a specialist team that open those bags up. They will be looking at how they can route those to the right channels to make the most money. So they are specialists in what they do. It's a triage team. They'll open them up. They will look and think, shall we send that to the eBay department, into a vintage department? Is it something that will just be bulked together and could be upcycled? So sometimes some of the fabrics we get maybe have been worn quite a lot, but we can still turn those into upcycling. Barnardos has upcycling centres in the UK as well, where we can turn something that's quite worn into something new and unique by putting several items together. We've got some very skilled people. So anything that's left over from that point, we would send into our stores where they will sell it direct face to face with the public.
Excellent. And what do you do with? So you must get some donations that shouldn't really be donated.
Yeah.
What do you do with those, and what can't we donate?
It's quite limited as to what you can't donate to us. There are some things I would hope would be quite obvious, which I probably shouldn't mention. But things like safety equipment would be a no. So things like crash helmets, riding helmets, medical equipment, those sort of things we really ask not to send in because we can't guarantee their safety to pass them on to the next person. Sometimes the clothing, if it is all ripped and it can't be reused, then we do have merchants that buy fabric in bulk. And if there really are things that just cannot be sold, even on an upcycling, a merchant will come in and still give us money based on the weight of the item. So they will pay us by the kilo for fabrics, which they can then repurpose and send them out to international markets. So everything really has a value for us, unless it is a contraband item, as I say, but that's mainly around safety, or trying to think of other items that we wouldn't really say. Items that have got GDPR that would be locked. So certain electrical items, we take that very seriously around people's data protection, and counterfeit items would be something that we'd have to send straight out to the merchants. But most things, I'm proud to say, we can find a market and some revenue for the charity.
So in the gym, we have a box, and I would say our gym members have filled it probably 10 times over.
Yeah.
How much would you say that a box or the gym has raised, roughly? Because I know you won't have an exact figure, but roughly.
Well, it is tricky to say, but the members here at the gym have been extremely generous, especially yourself, Zoe, while you are going through your house clearance, which is wonderful. On average, a bag is worth, that's coming into us, about £30. So we're talking about a carrier bag full is probably the equivalent of about £30. Whether we get that, as I say, through Vinted, through eBay, through our shop network, that's our kind of averages that we do. So for everything you've put through here, I would say we're probably going to be challenging the £1,000 mark quite soon, which would be wonderful. And that can make such a difference. The thing, when we talk about where the money actually goes and what that does, there's some very harrowing stories around that and what £1,000 can pay for. So just to give you a couple of examples of ones I've learned recently, Barnardos has a crisis fund where it really is to support families that are really struggling with the cost of living at the moment. We learned a story recently from our CEO about a child that was only going to school 2 days a week, and the school couldn't get to the bottom why that was the case. Various teams came in, couldn't find out, but then Barnardos came in and found out that the household only had one pair of shoes, and mum needed those shoes the other days of the week to go to work, so the child could only go to school the days mum wasn't working, so she could have those shoes. And that's quite, like, that really hits you hard, that a family's in that position where they're having to share shoes to be able to function. So once Barnardo's found that, we could tap into the funds we've made available to pay for more shoes for that family. so that child's attendance could go back up to 100% and therefore can thrive, and mum can go on and do her work. So that's a huge one. But as well, sort of another example of where the money goes that from these donations is it's easy to take for granted things that maybe we have regularly, like our children going to other children's birthday parties, or there's many families that we support where the children always have to, or mum and dad always have to say no, they can't go to the party and make their excuses. But the reality is that's because they can't afford to buy a present for that child, and they also don't tell their own children that it's their birthday because they simply can't afford to get a present for them. And that, when you just take a step back from that, is just unbelievable. But it's a sad reality right now. So the Barnardo sort of support fund, again, can just step in, and it's not all about paying for food and the heating. Those are the staples that it was set up on, the principles. But to be able to give families those basic sort of experiences, whether it's like just a day out as a family to the seaside, and we can help support that, that money would go towards that, just so they can have a family experience, which is so valuable, to be able to help pay for those presents so that they can go to a children's birthday party and be there amongst their friends and live what we regard as a normal life. There is so many areas that our charity reaches out to, and those are just a couple of examples that have sort of touched me over the last few months. But it's with these donations, whether it's from the likes of the Extreme Gym, whether it's the donation bins, whether it's the postal ones, or just dropping some bits into your local store, it changes people's lives, it makes a difference, and it shapes sort of children's futures.
Wow, I can't believe we've raised that much money for you. I'm absolutely thrilled. Isn't that amazing? So thank you so much, Jonathan, for explaining all this to us. But just to remind everyone, first, how can a company get one of these boxes and put it into their business so that people can easily donate?
The boxes are sort of quite a new thing for us. So maybe we'll put a link at the bottom that refers to the Barnardos website and can get in touch directly with my team and customer services. The donation bags are readily available on the website now, so hopefully Zoe will let us put a link on the bottom for there as well. But as I say, you should have a Barnardos hopefully within a few miles of you. We do have a strong network of stores, so it should be quite accessible for you to make your donations and support us.
Thank you. Definitely we will put all the links below so that you can also help. And thank you so much, Jonathan. It's been so interesting.
It's a pleasure.
I've always been curious to know what happens to my donations and know that they've actually gone to good use. So hopefully this has been very useful for you too. So you can see that it really does benefit these charities if we give even things that we don't think they want, you want.
We do.
And
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the
thank
time
you.
out to go through that with us.
And thank you for supporting us. We much appreciate it.
I'm so glad I did know. Now I know how much it's been worth. Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them down and I can pass them on to Jonathan for you. And thank you for your support. Ciao.